Okay, starting out on Exeter Road today on the cycle path, and I'm considering this, or I'm going to call this, a midweek ride. It's Sunday, which might sound confusing, but I'm starting to get used to the idea of recording the rides now. It's only my third or fourth time, but I feel like, although I've only got one video on YouTube and it's just like a test, I did do a video yesterday, like my first kind of official video, let's say. It hasn't been published yet, but it's given me a lot of food for thought, and I'm actually really pleased with the video. I did make a lot of mistakes, which I think will be pretty obvious, some of them, but I managed to make use of what I had and cut it into something that, although it wasn't as I maybe had planned to some extent, which in reality, like, nothing's going to be how you envisioned it, right? But in other aspects, it's actually far better than what I thought I could achieve. So after the first video I put on YouTube, and currently the only one, I started watching a few of the videos of cyclists in the area that I'm already subscribed to and enjoy watching, and I started for the first time really actually looking at their editing style, and not just watching it as a viewer but watching it as somebody that's also trying to do similar. And I realised, like, YouTube, as we all know, it is all about quick cuts and quick edits, slapping some royalty-free music on. I was previously on my tech video, that first video I posted, I was using crossfades and not much else really. I know I did know that crossfades were kind of old school, but I just kind of stuck with that. I didn't use anything else that really aged it, I don't know, these page curls and whatnot. But yeah, I think just watching some of the videos, it made me realise that the quick cuts are what a lot of people do, and if you put music on it, actually it does really increase the appeal, and I don't know, it keeps people watching. So what I did yesterday in my first official video, as I'm calling it, was I started out in Dawlish, which is where I live. You're going to see a lot of Dawlish. I'm going from Dawlish to Dawlish Warren now, and actually I did this one on the tech video, so but I'll come back to this in a second, this idea of a midweek ride on a Sunday, which is often blowing a few minds at the minute. I will explain that. But yeah, yesterday I went from Dawlish to Torquay. I had a route in mind, and I actually changed it a little bit because I realised I was going past some nice places that I could go into and then show off. Show off the place, not show off as a cyclist. And so I did maybe 3 or 4 hour ride. Yeah, I think it was 4 hours, but maybe I had 3 hours footage. Came home thinking, I've got something good to work with. And I think the first thing I realised was that the camera on the chest mount, it was pointed far too low. And I'm obviously not holding the camera most of the time. You're chest mounted now. So really 95% of the footage was kind of pointed down and not really looking at the thing that I was going towards. So there's a lot of bike shots. Maybe there's some people that will appreciate that, but I haven't got the best of bikes, so it's not something that's that good to be looking at. So initially I was feeling a little bit depressed. Maybe I should just bin it all. Okay, that's my fault, I hesitated there. But yeah, I just carried on with it, and like I say, I think having seen other people how they cut their videos, I just practiced with that. Spent a few hours yesterday after the ride, maybe an hour today, and I'm quite pleased with what I've got. Like I say, the camera angle for the most part was bad, but I did also do selfies and talk about some of the areas that I went to, which I think is one of the better parts. And I also took the camera off and sort of freestyled it as I rode, and I think having the freestyle and the selfies is what kind of saved it, really. So I scrubbed through like a lot of the footage where it was chest mounted, and there were a few bits where it was a little bit higher, I guess because I was sat further back. And I just use those for transitions really, and put music over the top. So I think it's turned out well with like the cuts. I did time some of the cuts to like changes in the music. Quite pleased with that. It wasn't perfect, but I can get better with that with time. I also had, because the camera's chest mounted, I also had like me lifting the drinks bottle up a couple of times, and I thought that was like a nice little touch. And when I finished doing like a selfie where I stopped and talked about the location, I showed like me starting off again. So I think there's some nice little transitions in there, and although they could be improved some more, like already it gives me opportunities to like really have a nice style that works well for me. So I really got a good chance to experiment, and I'll come back to that in a sec, but let's go to the midweek idea now. So it's a Sunday, right? This isn't obviously a midweek ride, but what I want to do is once a week have like a more polished and cut and edited video, like the one that I did yesterday. That's still in the works, so that'll come out Sunday next week. But then these midweek rides are just going to be more of free flow, less editing, so I don't expect as many people to watch these. Maybe it'll be more of like a second channel vibe, behind the scenes. I haven't even got a first channel yet, so I'm obviously thinking quite a bit ahead. But this will be, yeah, like this will be published in the midweek is what I'm saying. And it can be done any time of the week, but I think it just helps to bank these things, get more footage. Maybe I can start to make shorts out of them, post them in, shorter formats elsewhere, like TikTok. I've never used TikTok. I'm 40 plus, so I kind of shudder at the thought, but this is all stuff I can look into. And yeah, so today's ride is, as I say, really just an opportunity for me to talk about whatever it is, not be so worried by format. And today in particular, obviously I'm trying to hopefully improve the angle of the chest mounted camera. With it being up against my chest, I can't see the screen, but the Ace Pro 2, it has got an app. I suppose a lot of the cameras will have this. It's got an app where I can actually see it on my phone. I think it only works on Wi-Fi. I'm assuming you can see my phone now, and I pointed it too high. Yeah, I think this only works on Wi-Fi. Let's try it though. I have got Bluetooth enabled, but it seems it's only going to be a Wi-Fi thing. But this is what I did when I was at home outside, just in the oh no, it is working. Alright, well that's good. So yeah, this is what these tests are for, I suppose. So I can now see the chest camera, and I can also see that you can see what you're seeing again in infinite. So I can see some sky this time. I can see the horizon, although we're on flat currently. But this is obviously how I optimize, right? And I'm sure this is absolutely killing the battery on both my phone and the camera. But yeah, I can check this once in a while just to make sure that things are straight and framed well. The idea of what is framed well, I don't know yet. I still have quite a lot of handlebars in, so I think I've got more room to point it upwards. Oh no. Okay, that was a weird thing to say, pointed upwards as I was going past a load of people, but never mind. I've said worse. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going today really. This is just a little opportunity to get out. One thing that I am thinking with the video editing is that it does take a long time to do. Like yesterday I did have 3 hours, I cut it down to 13.5 minutes, which I know is sort of like where you want to be for YouTube videos. I was thinking today, like, I'm excited to do the editing, but it does also stop me then from cycling, right? So I guess that's going to be a new thing, trying to work out that balance. And okay, I sat back then and I looked down at the phone. I can see like where I'm sat back is where I'd rather have the camera, so I think it is a bit too low. But yeah, I need to work out a good balance so that I can still like do a good amount of cycling and try not to have it interfere with my editing. It's really got me excited, but you know, I've got a lot of work on at the minute and a lot of stress with that, so I need to just be sensible about how much I'm taking on. So yeah, I guess just in the same way that I've been doing with the cycling, you know, get it done. It doesn't have to be the fastest, just make sure you get it done and have the improvements come slowly over time. I need to apply the same to trying to get these videos out, right? So 1 video a week I think is what people would expect. If you can do more, then of course I'd love that, assuming they love your content. But I think 1 a week is doable. And then, like I say, maybe these midweek ones are bonuses where there isn't any pressure to do them, there isn't any pressure to edit. If I do edit, you know, I can spend 10 minutes just cutting out the waffle, which on this ride I haven't stopped. But I don't need to try and maintain attention, I guess, on these ones. This is just for whoever's really keen. And I guess anyone that wants to come on this journey with me of not only cycling in Dawlish and Devon and maybe other places in the future, but also just starting out as a vlogger, trying out some of this tech and trying to get better at it. I did look today at YouTube monetization. I know that like my goal for this is just to do it because I enjoy it. I know that to make money on YouTube, you've got to have a huge amount of views. So, and with this type of video, like, I know it's not going to get that many views. If I were to get 100 views on a video right now, I think I'd be delighted. And then if I could hit the low 1000s, like if I could be hitting that in a year's time, then that would be great. But yeah, I was looking at the YouTube monetization. I know there are certain requirements. You've got to have a certain amount of minutes watched. I kind of dismiss that as one of the easy ones, because the one that really seemed like a big thing that would be a long way away is subscriber count being 1000. So I can't imagine I'd do that within a year. I don't know, I know maybe there are different ways to do that in a way that isn't very authentic. That's not for me. I just want to try and get one video out a week, be consistent. I have had my own web development company in the past, so I know how to do social media and obviously building websites. I don't want to have to build websites because I don't necessarily enjoy it, but I've definitely got to know how to do it and how to maybe do it quick. And oh yeah, well, I've still not messed with the camera actually. I'm looking down at my phone again. So let's stop for a sec. It is also, well, that's the issue, right? I kind of have to guess. So I guess you lock in your position that you're happy with, and then somehow like mark it on the chest mount or the camera. That's still a little bit lower than what I'd like, but we can see ahead. You can see some sky. So I'm already going to stop again. And here's a bit of gravel for my road tyres. Don't panic too much, road tyres. Okay, so an intentional selfie, upside down. Let's try that. So I don't even mind if it goes a bit further actually, like, I don't know, like if anyone's watching this, and let me know what you think. Especially today in the high vis. Is it too much? Are the arms too much? Yeah, in this video I did yesterday, I filmed yesterday, let's say, it isn't published yet, but it was a nice day really. I really enjoyed the ride. It was a slower ride, which again comes down to the filming and the stopping and tweaking stuff, doing selfies and whatnot. So that as well will impact what I was doing previously. But yeah, I did a lot of climbs yesterday, and because you couldn't see ahead that well, especially on the climbs, because you're further down, like it's basically like a, let's say, a crotch mounted camera. You weren't quite getting the money shot, but you're definitely getting legs and thighs at one point. When on the really steep hills, it was just looking down at the road. So the idea of that video, it's called Coast and Climbs. We go along the coast, Dawlish to Torquay, and we obviously do some climbs. It's about 1,000 meters of elevation, which for me is, I guess, the top end of what I do. The most I've ever done actually is 1,100. combined, so that was a lot for me. But with talking through it, I don't know, and just having something else to put your mind on, actually, it did seem like I know I can do more. And it was 46 kilometres, which isn't, I've done much longer than that, but 1,000 metres elevation over that is, I guess that's what the challenge was, the unique challenge for me yesterday. It was a lot of elevation in lesser distance than what I would normally do that amount of elevation. That's more like a Dartmoor 60k sort of ride for me, so yeah. Alright, I'm going to stop again in a sec and maybe nudge the camera further up. But one other thing I've been doing, and I guess this is just the thing right now at the minute, and without a doubt it's going to be the future as well, is I've been asking ChatGPT for advice on YouTube videos, you know, how do I do it, what do I do, what do I think about. I've even been asking, like, do I mount the camera above the part on the chest, do I mount it below it? It's always good advice, and I really think that's going to push me ahead already, because I've already, like, if I didn't do that, I think I would have published, or about to publish, a much lesser quality video. I wouldn't have done like thumbnails, and I wouldn't have thought about all of the thumbnaily sort of stuff we know about, like, you know, just attention grabbing. I'm not going to use it just yet because it's not quite right, but I did take the thumbnail from the video. I took 3 that I thought would be good, and it would roughly show like coast and climbs in that thumbnail with also my face. And I asked ChatGPT to put the text over the top, because it told me, like, you should put text in as well, coast and climbs, and it did it, and it did it well. It definitely changed my face a little bit and made it a little bit more, I don't know, smoothed out. You can tell that it's AI still. It changed my, like, the emotion on my face a tiny bit, like I look a bit more annoyed, I don't know, like just a little bit more curious to anyone else seeing it, I think. And I was, like, one of the frames I took, I was also like pointing into, like, towards the sea along the coast that I just come from, and I even changed, like, the point of my finger. Whether it was intentional or not, I don't know, but it's kind of like, rather than just pointing out as if to say, oh, look over there, it's more sort of pointing down and, like, with the angry face. I don't know, it just makes you think, oh, what's this guy, like, going on about? So yeah, I don't know if that was intentional. I do want these videos to be uplifting as much as I can, even though I don't think I'm particularly positive, but I am trying. So the question is, should it be like a negative thumbnail just to get more attention, and then the rest of the video is uplifting? So I think I'm okay with that. I know in the past I wouldn't be, but the reality is everybody knows that's how YouTube works, that's how attention grabbing works. And if I can grab your attention, and then you get to see this video where I'm trying to be uplifting and trying to inspire people to do what I've done in the last few years, and that's get off my arse and ride and have fun, get a little bit fitter, and so be it, right? Like, steal the attention and then steer people in the way that you think will help them. So I'm going for that. The only reason I didn't want to use the thumbnail just because I didn't like the font I used, actually. I say they, it's AI, right? But yeah, I'm a web developer, as I said, and definitely fully engaged with using AI every day, throughout the day. It's excellent for programming. I was thinking the other day that this is the thing that I talk to most in the day, which is maybe the negative side. I work from home on my own, so no colleagues to talk to except for like a stand-up a day, and I'm spending more time talking to the computer and asking the computer stuff. But although I guess it's the same as everything, right? Like, it's a tool. How you use a tool is really down to the human still, and it's so useful in my work. I also recently started working for an AI company. They generate images and videos from text prompts and various other parameters, so I'm deeply involved in it now. I can start using that software for my thumbnails and maybe some video editing in the future. So I saw an article the other day, I guess we've all seen these already, but it was about, well, it doesn't really matter what it was about, but I saw some images that went with the article. I don't know if the article was AI generated, I didn't even read it, but the images were AI generated, and if the article was truthful about an event that happened, the images obviously weren't, they were just a portrayal. But who wants that, right? Like, if there aren't images of the event, then don't show it, because you're changing the narrative in that way. So yeah, that's the problem. Like, everybody's going to use these tools for money making and buying themselves some time, but that's not the way to do it, in my opinion. And that's not an issue of the tech, I don't think. It's the issue of the user. So that's where I stand on it currently. There is also the concern about AI kind of going outside of its bounds against like the will and the rule of humans. Apparently it's been found already to, they've tried to replicate itself outside of its system. I was reading an article about that the other day, like against all of the rules that were put in place, it still tried to do it. And what really scared me on Friday is I'm looking at some brand new tech to me, like it's a web development framework. And I've been asking I was asking ChatGPT first, and then I went on to Gemini, because I think Gemini is better for that sort of stuff, dealing with code. It was like, I didn't quite get one of the concepts, I didn't even realise it was a thing, and then in asking these questions, the AI was like, yeah, this is definitely how it is, it doesn't feel right, but this is how it works. You need to change, your way of thinking about this for it to work in the way that you expect. And I just couldn't believe that's how it worked, and I changed back to ChatGPT and said, is what Gemini's telling me right? So you kind of start to put the AI against each other and get them to validate themselves. Maybe that in itself is a bit of a concern. But yeah, it said it was right, and I went back to Gemini, asked more questions, like obviously checked the docs as well just to make sure that it was true. And then I started to grasp what it was telling me, And then it meant that I had to make quite a few changes to this prototype that I built. And the part that scared me was that Gemini started, in its like text response, started giving me like almost like its own inner dialogue, like I shouldn't say this because this is confusing to the user, so I should do it like this. And it was really, I've not seen it do that before. I guess that in itself could just be a feature, but maybe why would it be presented in that way, like the AI talking to itself? Surely it should just still present that information to you if it's going to give you its own thought process. I know people do want to see thought process and citations, so I don't know if that was intentional, I don't know if it was a bug, but I've never seen it before, and just to see like it explain itself to itself, it really did give me a bit of a fright. Alright, another tweak of the camera. I'm sat back a little bit, so I don't know how much I'm changing, and needless to say it's getting dark. I didn't even know where I was going to come today. I guess this is my default route. I didn't want to come out too far, but I didn't even think I could do like that much talking on the camera, but clearly I can't stop. Lots of bugs there. So that's what this channel's about, right? Like just getting outside of your comfort zone, trying things, improving your health, improving yourself. I felt something terrible on my back wheel then, I can feel a bubble now. Alright, I'm still having a bit of trouble with detaching the camera. Oh, and it's telling me it won't show me the screen because and I paused the video by mistake. How do I get out of this? Alright, obviously some more learning opportunities there. I've turned the video off twice, but oh, okay, would you believe it? Here's me doing a tech test on the camera and everything else, and I've got an absolute flat tyre. That puts an end to it, I suppose. I have a front tyre that is tubeless. This rear tyre is tubed because I had issues with it in the past, so maybe I won't end it there just yet. Let's go back to that car park and maybe I can film myself kind of trying to stay off my own arse so I can get back home without having to call my wife. Alright, let's give it a go. I do normally carry all the kit I've got to actually change the tyre. Hopefully that's the case today. I've got my pump, I've got a spare tube, and oh no. Okay, I think I've got my tools. Alright, well, I guess this was unexpected, but it's always good to do these things. I've done it once before out on a gravel ride, so let's see how it goes. I'll take the wheel off. So it's completely flat. I don't know. I think sometimes these things split and they just go, don't they? And I'm wondering how much you can see. Okay, alright. I think I've just made myself even more yellow. Alright, I've chopped the little ring on the valve. That's not a good start. It's gone in the grass. And I'm hoping this is the tubed one. I'm pretty sure it's the back. Oh no. Alright, well, I don't know what's happened. I think that's going to mean that I need a lift home because I've taken the wheel off. The cassette's fallen off. These have fallen off from behind the cassette, and I've never dealt with behind the cassette on this wheel before, so I think it'd be a major mistake to try and get it on. Like, why the cassette has fallen off, it should be tight on right, so I think I'd rather not try and fix it. I haven't got my my wrench anyway, so knowing that it's likely to fall off I think is a major mistake in trying to ride home, so I'm going to have to call in for a ride. So these things happen, it's a learning experience, and that's it for today, I guess. Thanks for watching, bye. Alright, so just to end my video, I did make it home, not by my own power unfortunately. I did have to get a pickup by my wife. First time doing that, but I think the good news is that we talked about it in the past and we did kind of plan for it. We keep the bike mount for the car, the bike rack in the boot, so we knew that maybe this one day would happen. It was a puncture that I had, and it was quite a big one, so it just took the wind or the air out of the tube straight away. And I think what happened was, like, I was obviously trying to fix it in the dark. When I took the wheel off, the cassette just fell off, and I didn't realise that was a thing. I have taken that wheel off quite a few times, so I don't know why it hasn't happened in the past, but I believe it is quite a normal thing to happen. And I was talking about AI in that video prior to the kind of the puncture. I did check ChatGPT whilst I was actually out in the dark trying to fix the wheel, and I asked, is that a normal thing? So I was on my way to kind of putting the cassette back on. It is a normal thing apparently, I didn't know it, so another thing to learn. First time that I've had to call out my wife, kind of a little bit embarrassing, and the kids had to come as well. They were just kind of getting ready for bed, so these things happen. But back home safely. Maybe my pride has kind of taken a little notch, but never mind. It's just another learning experience, and part of the fun of cycling.